What's going on? My name is Hayden Dewar. I'm here with Matt Urakami. We are Doug Investments. We go out and buy multifamily apartment buildings. And today we're going to talk a little bit about what we have going on right now, which is we are in contract, or actually about to be in contract, on a 10-unit property in Tucson. And that has been an absolute doozy to get into to contract. So the way it works in commercial is you submit an LOI, and that which is a letter of intent, and then you negotiate from there your terms to then fill out a contract to then sign to then get into escrow. So we got an accepted letter of intent, and now we are moving the ball along the lines and uh, signing the contract. So yeah, Matt, what are some of the there's been a ton of things that have been going on. What have you found, or what have you learned, and what's going on in the contract?
Man, let's start with what's going on in the contract, and then we can go over our lessons or what we've learned, our takeaways
For
from
sure.
our entire experience so far. Um, we got the accepted LOI about a month and a half ago. The seller sent over a standard PSA contract, which we wanted an attorney to draft up because we wanted to add some protections for ourselves. Um, So we
Right.
had our contract attorney draft up a contract, which took about a week. That might be a little on the longer side, but about the right timeline. Sent it to the seller, and this is where we started to hit some speed bumps. The seller had it for about 14 days, give or take. A lot of revisions from the seller's side. Um, once we got it back, we had a conversation with our attorney, our non-negotiables that we wanted in there, sent it back again, which probably with our attorney again took another 5 days. Sent it back again. They had it for about another week. And then we decided to take it into our hands, and we got on a call with the seller and brokers, our broker, their broker, um, just to try and get things wrapped up because this process has taken way too long for our liking.
Yeah, because essentially what the seller's attorney was trying to do is she was trying to protect the seller, but then just leave us open for anything. Open season on the buyers. Which in commercial, you have to protect yourself as a buyer because you are not because you're in contract, but you're not necessarily protected like you are in a single family
Yeah.
transaction. You have your state transaction or your state form, not form, sorry. You have your state contract that has all of your listed things that protect you as a buyer. If you're in single family, in commercial, those protections are out the window, so you have to go in and protect yourself. So we were going back and forth because they were basically saying, no, we're everything that we say is, can be null and void by your guys' due diligence, which was pretty interesting. So yeah, and then like you said, we got on the horn with the seller and both brokers and knocked it out in about 45 minutes, which is interesting and a lesson learned. If we can do that, I would rather do that and save upwards of a lot of money. I'd say save a lot of money on attorneys.
Yeah, that was my next mention was the attorney fees. Obviously, we accounted for some, um, but we've racked up quite the bill so far.
Yeah,
That's why we
yeah,
just said we need to handle it, get on the phone with the seller and brokers, and get it all squared away.
yeah.
So that is where we're at today. Now we're going to go over some key takeaways. Hayden, what are your biggest takeaways that you've learned through this process and anything you want to share that is insightful for others?
Yeah, absolutely. My first key takeaway is at every step, whenever your attorney or whenever an attorney is doing anything, this goes for not only real estate but everything. I'd say whenever your attorney does any work for you, get a statement that shows how much uh, they have or how much the bill is at that point. because they can just keep tallying, and you're thousands and thousands in without knowing where you're at. So that was very helpful. And then you can, because that's what we did. We asked for the statement. It came in way higher than we even imagined initially.
Yeah.
And so we said, nope, hold the phone. We are meeting with the seller and getting this taken care of by ourselves. And then another key takeaway that I had was to make sure that you set your expectations up front. That's massive. And I know that goes without saying, and you feel like that's commonplace. Of course you're going to do that. Well, if you don't know, you don't know. So you don't know, you don't know. And it's we walked into it thinking that we set proper expectations, but we weren't even near where we were. We probably sounded like complete newbies when we went into talk to our attorneys. So I would go in and say, this is exactly what we expect, this kind of timeline. If you can't meet it, next. Those are my key takeaways from what we've got so far. What about you, Matt?
Yeah, I think goes without saying, like, you think you have a good initial conversation with that contract attorney, and then you get into the weeds of things and days go by, and then your things come up. So maybe you're not staying on top of it like you thought you would. Those fees can rack up quickly, as we've seen. But making sure that expectation is set. Now, I think my big key takeaway with going into this contract attorney conversation is having our non-negotiables front and center. Have that in the initial conversation, so it is in the contract, and then
Uh-huh.
also being able to communicate that with the seller
Sure.
and either their attorney or broker, because we had that conversation with our attorney, but we didn't go back and have that conversation with the seller. Um, and when we got the initial contract back from the first redline version from their attorney, a lot of those non-negotiables were taken out. So making sure
Yeah.
that's communicated well to both parties.
Yeah. And this is not to say that our attorney was bad by any means. I think she's done a great job, and she knows what she's talking about. It's just we didn't set proper expectations. We didn't go in, tell her what we needed out of her from the get-go. So she's just running on what she normally is used to. But we are protected now. Getting into this contract, we signed the contract yesterday. Hopefully we get it back today, but we are protected now because of her. So that's, it's nothing against her, but we definitely have had some growing pains over the last month, and it obviously didn't help. The timeline of it didn't help because of Christmas and New Year's, but it still has taken this long, and we want to get rocking. So
overall, this is learning and making sure we're doing our homework ahead of time, which I feel like we've done a good job. In each step along the way, we've had very good key takeaways, good learning lessons. We're doing the right things to get to the point where we're at. Just taking a little bit longer than expected.
yeah, they say that up front you're going to make a lot of mistakes and probably lose some money, and sure does hurt actually happening rather than just hearing it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely been a positive experience, and moving forward we will be that much better. And we didn't lose anything in terms of the deal specifically. It was more so just in the back end with all of the negotiations back and forth. So yeah, so what we want to do with this call is we want to first just give you a glimpse of what we're doing week to week. As you know, we buy apartment complexes. We want to update our investors on what's going on, and then also we just want to talk about real estate and engage with you guys. So
Yeah, hopefully there's some helpful information in these clips for you guys. We're going to continue to do this weekly, like Hayden said, just updating you on where we're at with things and key learnings. So, any questions, post below.